The slap came before I could even breathe. My head snapped to the side, and for a second, everything went quiet. The taste of metal filled my mouth. My cheek burned, and the baby inside me kicked hard, almost as if protesting the pain I couldn't stop. "Are you crying again?" Marcus barked, his voice sharp and cruel. "You think that'll fix anything?" I swallowed hard, shaking my head. "Please, Marcus. I just said you shouldn't drink so much. It's bad for." "For what?" He slammed his hand on the table, making the plates rattle. "For you? For that thing you're carrying." He pointed at my belly like it was some kind of sin. My stomach twisted. I took a step back, one hand over the place that hurt the most. Not my face, not even my ribs, but my heart. "Don't call our baby a thing," I whispered. He laughed, loud and ugly. "Our baby? You think that's still our baby after what you've done?" I froze. "What do you mean?" He smirked. "Don't act innocent, Eli. You've always been a curse. Everything went downhill since I met you. My job, my money, my peace. All ruined the moment you walked into my life." Each word hit harder than the slap. I couldn't even find the strength to argue. I just stood there, shaking, trying to keep my breathing steady for the baby's sake. "You should be grateful I even let you stay here," he went on. "No one else would want someone like you. Weak. Worthless. Useless." Something inside me cracked. I didn't shout back. I didn't cry out. I just looked at him, the man I once loved, and wondered how love could rot this badly. The rain outside grew heavier, thunder rolling through the night. Marcus grabbed another bottle, his movements clumsy, angry. He drank straight from it, eyes red. Then he threw the bottle. It hit the wall beside me, shattering into 100 glittering pieces. A shard cut across my arm, and I winced, clutching my sleeve. Blood trickled between my fingers. "Marcus, please," I begged softly. "Stop. I'm tired." "The baby. The baby again," he shouted. "Always the baby. Maybe that's why you're so damn miserable. Because you think that thing will save you. It won't. You're nothing but bad luck." He took another step toward me, and that's when it happened. A loud crash. The front door slammed open so hard it hit the wall. Marcus turned, startled, just as a tall man stepped inside. His presence filled the room instantly, broad shoulders, sharp jaw, eyes dark as storm clouds. He wasn't supposed to be there, but somehow, it felt like he belonged in that chaos. "What the hell's going on?" the stranger demanded. Marcus's face twisted. "Who the hell are you?" The man's voice was low and cold. "The neighbor. And I've been listening to your shouting for weeks." I couldn't speak. My lips trembled. I'd seen him before, a few times in the hallway. Always quiet, always distant. His name was Ash, I remembered. Ash from apartment 4B. The man everyone said was trouble. The one who never smiled. Marcus puffed his chest. "Get out. This is between me and my..." He stopped himself, then sneered. "My problem." Ash's jaw tightened. "Does your problem bleed when you throw things at it?" Marcus blinked. "You don't know what you're talking about." "I know enough." Ash's gaze flicked toward me, landing on the blood on my arm. His expression darkened. "You hurt him." I shook my head quickly. "Please, it's fine." "Shut up, Eli," Marcus snapped. "Don't talk when I'm talking." Ash took a step forward. Then another. "Say that again." Marcus glared. "You think you can walk in here and..." He didn't finish. Ash grabbed him by the collar and slammed him against the wall. The sound made me jump. Marcus cursed, trying to push him off, but Ash didn't budge. "I've heard enough of your voice," Ash said quietly. "You call him worthless again, and I'll make you eat those words." Marcus tried to laugh, but his voice shook. "You don't get it, do you? He's a curse. Everything he touches breaks. Even me." Ash's eyes went darker. "Maybe you broke yourself. Let go of me, you freak." Ash did, but not gently. Marcus stumbled, hit the edge of the table, and fell to the floor. For a moment, the only sound in the room was the rain against the windows. I stood frozen, staring at both of them. My arm hurt, my stomach tightened, and my heart pounded so hard I thought it might stop. Ash turned to me then. "Are you hurt anywhere else?" I opened my mouth, but no words came out. My throat was dry. He stepped closer, slowly this time, like I was a frightened animal that might run. His voice softened. "It's okay. I'm not going to touch you." I nodded weakly, tears spilling down my cheeks before I could stop them. Marcus groaned on the floor. "Don't you dare pity him. He deserves it. He's been ruining my life since the day I met him." Ash's hand curled into a fist, but he didn't move. His jaw flexed once, twice, before he finally said, You don't talk to someone like that and call it love. Marcus spat blood. Love? That's not love. That's a mistake I can't undo. Something in my chest snapped at that. My breath hitched, and a sob escaped before I could hold it in. Ash looked at me again, and for a second, I saw something in his eyes I couldn't name. Anger, maybe. Or pity. Or both. Come on, he said quietly. You can't stay here tonight. Marcus started to rise. He's not going anywhere with you. Ash didn't even look at him. You've done enough damage. Sit down. He turned back to me, extending a hand. You can walk. I hesitated, staring at his hand. My fingers twitched, uncertain. Then I looked around, the broken glass, the overturned chair, Marcus's hateful stare, and took it. Ash's grip was firm, steady, grounding. He helped me to my feet, supporting me when my knees nearly gave out. Get your hands off him, Marcus yelled, but his voice sounded distant now, like a storm fading behind a closed window. Ash ignored him. We're leaving. And just like that, he guided me out. I didn't even realize I was crying again until I tasted salt on my lips. The hallway was quiet except for the rain. I could barely walk, so Ash lifted me before I could protest. His arms were strong, his heartbeat steady against my shoulder. Where are you taking me? I asked softly. Somewhere safe, he said. I looked up at him. His face was hard to read, calm, but his eyes were still burning. You shouldn't get involved, I murmured. He glanced down at me. Too late for that. We reached his apartment. He opened the door with one hand and kicked it shut behind us. The lights were dim, the place clean but lived in. A small couch, books, a few mugs on the counter. It smelled like rain and soap. He set me down carefully on the couch. Stay still. I can't. I don't want to cause trouble, I whispered. You already did, he said, then softened. But not the kind that matters. He crouched down in front of me, his hands hovering near the cut on my arm. You're bleeding. It's fine, I lied. It's just a scratch. His eyes lifted to mine. Don't do that. Do what? Pretend it doesn't hurt. The way he said it, quiet, honest, made my chest ache. No one had spoken to me like that in a long time. He got up, grabbed a small first aid kit from the counter, and returned. Hold still. He cleaned the wound carefully. The sting of alcohol made me flinch, and his hand paused. Sorry. It's okay, I murmured. When he finished, he wrapped the bandage gently, like he was afraid of breaking me. Then he leaned back, watching me for a long moment. You don't have to go back there, he said finally. I don't have anywhere else. You do now. I looked away. You don't even know me. I don't need to. I just need to know what I saw tonight. The silence stretched between us. Rain kept tapping on the window, steady and soft. My heartbeat slowly calmed, but my mind didn't. Why did you help me? I asked. Ash leaned back against the coffee table, his arms crossed. Because you needed it. And because I got tired of pretending not to hear you cry through the walls. My eyes widened. You heard that? He nodded. Every night. Shame flooded me. I didn't mean for anyone to. I know. His voice was quiet now. But you still didn't deserve it. Something warm burned behind my eyes again. I blinked fast, but the tears still came. He didn't move closer, didn't try to comfort me. And somehow, that made it easier to breathe. You should rest, he said after a while. You look like you haven't slept in days. I haven't, I admitted. He stood up, motioning toward the couch. You can stay here. I'll take the chair. I can't. You can, he interrupted softly. Don't argue. The firmness in his tone made me fall silent. I just nodded. He walked to the window, looking out at the rain. The streetlights flickered on his face, outlining the sharp lines of his jaw, the exhaustion in his eyes. For a man who looked dangerous, he seemed strangely tired too, like he carried his own kind of pain. I watched him quietly, unsure what to say. The baby kicked again, gentle this time, and I rested my hand on my belly. Ash turned slightly. Does it hurt? I shook my head. Just reminds me why I have to keep going. He nodded once. Good reason. We didn't speak after that. The room filled with the sound of rain and our uneven breathing. I didn't even realize when my eyes started to close. The last thing I remember was Ash's voice, low, almost to himself. Sleep, Eli. You're safe here. I wanted to believe that. I really did. But as my eyes drifted shut, part of me still heard Marcus's voice echoing from behind the walls. Cold, hateful, promising that this wasn't over. When I opened my eyes, the world was quiet. For a moment, I didn't know where I was. The ceiling above me wasn't cracked like ours. The air didn't smell like smoke or spilled beer. It smelled like soap. And rain. Then I remembered. Ash. My heart started racing. I sat up too fast, and a dull pain pulsed through my temples. A soft blanket slid off my shoulders. Someone had covered me while I slept. The couch creaked slightly as I shifted. Morning light filtered through the curtains, pale and uncertain, like it was afraid to disturb me. The apartment was still. Only the faint hum of a refrigerator broke the silence. Then I heard his voice. "You're awake." I turned. Ash was leaning against the kitchen counter, arms crossed, wearing a loose gray shirt. His hair was messy, eyes tired but alert, like he'd been watching me all night. My throat felt dry. "How long was I out?" "Almost 10 hours, he said. "You barely moved." 10 hours. I hadn't slept that long in months. I should go." The words left my mouth automatically, even though part of me didn't want to stand up. "Marcus will." Ash's gaze hardened. "Marcus will what?" I swallowed. "He'll get angry if he finds me gone." He took a slow step forward. "He almost killed you last night." I looked away. He didn't mean. "Don't," he said quietly, and there was no anger in his tone, only weariness. "Don't protect someone who hurts you." The words hit harder than I expected. I pressed my palm over my belly, feeling a faint kick. "I just don't want trouble." "You already had trouble," Ash said. "You just called it love." That silenced me. He sighed, walked to the counter, and poured water into a glass. Then he handed it to me. "Drink." I hesitated, but his look left no room for refusal. I took it with shaking hands and drank. The water was cold, sharp against my throat. "You didn't eat either," he said. "I made something." I blinked. "You cooked?" He shrugged slightly. "Toast and eggs. Don't expect much." When I tried to stand, he was already at my side. "Slow down," he murmured, steadying me with one hand at my elbow. His touch was light but firm, protective in a way that made my chest ache. I sat at his small table, and he placed the plate in front of me. Steam rose from the food. It was simple but warm. I stared at it for a second before whispering, "Thank you." He didn't answer. He just sat across from me, watching quietly as I forced myself to eat. Each bite felt heavy, like my body had forgotten what care tasted like. Halfway through, I looked up and found him still staring. "What?" I asked softly. "You don't flinch when I raise my voice," he said. "But you look terrified when someone's kind to you." I froze. I didn't know what to say to that. So I didn't say anything. He leaned back, eyes never leaving mine. "How long has he been doing it?" "Doing what?" His jaw tightened. "Hitting you." The fork slipped from my hand. It wasn't all the time." "That's not an answer." I felt the heat rise behind my eyes again. "Please, I don't want to talk about it." He nodded slowly. "All right. Not today." The quiet that followed wasn't awkward. It was thick. Heavy. Like the air itself knew too much. When I finished eating, he cleared the plate before I could move. Every motion he made was careful, deliberate. It was strange. Someone like him, so calm and restrained, living just a wall away while my life fell apart next door. "How long have you lived here?" I asked suddenly. 2 years. I blinked. "And you never?" "I heard everything," he said before I could finish. "I thought you'd leave sooner." My stomach twisted. "I wanted to." "Then why didn't you?" The truth was simple. Ugly. Because I thought if I stayed, he'd remember how to love me. Ash's expression softened. Not pity, just quiet understanding. "You can't fix a man who wants to stay broken." I looked down, rubbing my thumb over the bandage on my arm. "You talk like you know." He hesitated, then said, "Maybe I do." Something about his tone made me curious. "What happened to you?" He didn't look at me. Another life. Another mistake. I wanted to ask more, but the way his shoulders tensed told me not to. Instead, I whispered, "I'm sorry." "Don't be. Just eat more next time." That made me almost smile. Almost. The day passed slowly. I tried to rest, but the quiet pressed against me. Too peaceful. Too foreign. My mind kept drifting to Marcus. What he might do if he'd look for me, if he'd hurt himself or worse. Guilt itched under my skin like a second heartbeat. By evening, Ash had gone out for a bit. When he came back, he brought a small bag of groceries and a folded blanket. "You went out?" I asked. He nodded. "Didn't want you to starve tomorrow." I stared at him. "You don't even know me." He set the bag down. "Don't need to. You're here. That's enough." Something inside me stirred. Something fragile and dangerous. "You talk like I'm staying." "You are." My breath caught. Ash, I'm not keeping you, he said quickly, reading my fear. I just want you to have a choice before you go back. I frowned. Choice. Freedom, he said. That thing you stopped believing you deserve. I didn't know whether to thank him or run. Both felt impossible. When night came, I sat on the couch while he read quietly by the window. His presence filled the room, steady, unshakable. The rain started again, gentle this time. I finally asked, "Why do you live alone?" He didn't look up. Easier that way. Because you don't like people? Because people break things, he said. And I got tired of fixing what wasn't mine. The honesty in his voice made me shiver. I pulled the blanket closer. You scare me sometimes. He looked at me then, slow, deliberate. Do I? Not the way Marcus did, I admitted. It's different. You're quiet, but I can feel something dangerous under it. A shadow crossed his face. You're not wrong. Should I be afraid of you? His answer came after a long silence. Only if I ever stop caring. The room felt smaller suddenly. My pulse raced. I didn't understand what he meant, and maybe I didn't want to. I looked away, heart thudding. I should sleep. He nodded. Go ahead. When I lay down again, I listened to the rain and the sound of pages turning. My eyes drifted shut, but my mind wouldn't rest. I kept seeing Marcus's face, his rage, his words, and then Ash's steady gaze cutting through the chaos. Somewhere between fear and exhaustion, I whispered, "Thank you." I wasn't sure if he heard, but his voice came quietly through the dark. You don't have to thank me. Just heal. I thought that was the end of it. But then, in the middle of the night, a sound jolted me awake, a soft thud from the hallway, like footsteps. I sat up, heart pounding. Ash was already standing, tense, listening. He moved toward the door silently, motioning for me to stay back. The air felt colder. Then came the second knock. Harder. Ash opened the door a crack and froze. I couldn't see who it was, but I heard the voice. Familiar. Rough. Marcus. Where is he? Marcus snarled from the hallway. I know he's here. Ash didn't move. You need to leave. Don't play games with me. Marcus shouted. He's my wife, my husband, whatever. You can't just take him. Ash's voice dropped lower. He's not yours anymore. You think you can just steal what's mine? I didn't steal anything, Ash said, calm as stone. You lost it. Marcus lunged, trying to shove past him, but Ash caught his arm midair. The sound of struggle filled the hall, short, brutal. Then silence. When Ash stepped back inside, his knuckles were red. He won't come back tonight, he said simply, closing the door behind him. I stared at him, trembling. What did you do? Nothing permanent, he said. But he knows where I stand now. My pulse wouldn't slow down. You shouldn't have. He'll come back. Let him, Ash interrupted. He can knock all he wants. The door won't open again. There was a darkness in his eyes now, not anger exactly, but something deeper. A promise. I wrapped my arms around myself, shivering. You're scaring me again. He walked over slowly, kneeling in front of me until our eyes met. You're safe, Eli. Even if I have to be the monster that keeps you that way. His words sank into me, heavy and terrifying and safe all at once. I didn't know what to feel. Relief? Fear? Maybe both. When he stood, he turned off the lamp. The room fell into soft shadows. Sleep, he said. Tomorrow we'll figure out what comes next. But I couldn't sleep. At this point, I wasn't sure which prison I'd escaped, or if I'd just stepped into another one. The storm came back that night. I could hear it beating against the windows, wind howling through the cracks like it was trying to warn me. Ash was sitting by the window again, his face half in shadow, eyes watching the rain. He'd been quiet all day, only speaking when I did, calm, steady, but distant. Something in him had changed since Marcus showed up. And something in me had too. I couldn't stop thinking about what he said last night. Even if I have to be the monster that keeps you safe. It should have scared me. But instead, it sank into me like a strange kind of comfort. I sat on the couch, running my hand over my belly. The baby moved again, stronger this time. He's restless, I murmured. Ash looked over. I nodded. I think so. Marcus always wanted a boy. He didn't answer. His jaw tightened, eyes flickering for just a moment. I added quickly, not that it matters anymore. The silence stretched between us, thick and heavy. The storm outside roared louder. Finally, Ash spoke. You can't stay hidden forever. I know. When you're ready, I'll take you to the police. Or wherever you want to go. I bit my lip. And then what? He hesitated. Then you start over. The thought made my chest ache. And you? He looked at me, and there was a softness there I hadn't seen before. I'm not part of the story that comes after. My throat tightened. But you saved me. That's not the same thing, he said quietly. Saving someone doesn't mean keeping them. Something inside me twisted painfully. I wanted to tell him that I didn't want to leave, that his quiet voice and the way he made me feel safe had already started to stitch something broken inside me. But I couldn't. It would have sounded wrong. Too much. Too soon. So I just nodded. Okay. He looked away, as if he didn't believe me. The next morning, the rain finally stopped. Ash left to buy food. He didn't want me to come, said it was safer if I stayed in. I tried to read, to distract myself, but my mind kept circling back to him. The way his eyes softened when he said my name. The way his hand lingered when he bandaged my arm. It wasn't love, not yet. But it was something close enough to hurt. I must have dozed off, because the next thing I heard was the sound of the door slamming open. I jerked up, heart hammering. Marcus stood in the doorway. His face was bruised, swollen. Ash's doing, probably. But his eyes burned with something even darker. He was holding something in his hand. A piece of metal. Shiny. Small. A knife. Marcus, my voice cracked. Please. Shut up, he hissed. You think you can hide from me? In his apartment? You think I wouldn't find out? I froze. I could barely breathe. How did you? He laughed low and bitter. You really thought the police wouldn't tell me where you were? I told them you ran away while pregnant. They believed me. He took a step closer, and I backed up until I hit the wall. Marcus, please, the baby. The baby, he spat. That's all you ever talk about. You think that brat will make you special? You think anyone will want you with a kid? He raised the knife slightly, and for a second, I thought it was over. Then the door burst open again. Ash. He moved so fast I didn't even see it happen. 1 second, Marcus was standing. The next, the knife clattered to the floor, and Ash had him pinned against the wall. Marcus struggled, shouting, but Ash's voice cut through him, cold, sharp, final. You don't touch him. Ever. Again. Marcus's eyes widened. You think you can keep him? He's mine. Ash's hand tightened around his throat. He stopped being yours the moment you made him bleed. Ash. I tried to speak, but my voice came out in a whisper. Don't, please. Ash froze, his eyes flicking toward me. The fury in them softened just enough. He let Marcus drop to the floor. Get out, he said, voice shaking with restraint. Before I change my mind. Marcus coughed, clutching his throat. You're insane. Both of you. He staggered to his feet, glaring at me. You think he's your savior? He's worse than me. You'll see. And then he ran. Out the door, down the hall, disappearing into the storm. For a long time, I couldn't move. Couldn't speak. I just stood there, trembling. Ash turned to me, breathing hard. His hands were still shaking. Are you hurt? He asked. I shook my head, but tears blurred my vision. He was going to. I know, Ash whispered. I should have been here sooner. He stepped closer, and that's when my stomach tightened sharply. Pain shot through me, sudden and deep. I gasped, clutching my belly. Eli. Ash's voice went tense. What's wrong? I think. I couldn't finish. The pain came again, stronger. The baby, it's happening. Panic flickered in his eyes. Now. I nodded, tears spilling down my cheeks. I think so. He moved instantly. Come on. We're going to the hospital. I can't walk. He didn't argue. He just scooped me up in his arms, holding me close against his chest. I could feel his heartbeat, fast, steady, desperate. The world blurred around me as he ran down the stairs, out into the rain. His voice was the only thing that kept me from fading. Breathe, Eli. Just breathe. I've got you. The pain came in waves, sharp and merciless. I clung to him, gasping, crying. Ash, it hurts. I know, he said softly. But you're strong. Stronger than you think. By the time we reached the hospital, I was barely conscious. Nurses rushed in, shouting, lights flashing. Ash refused to leave my side until they pushed him out of the room. Hours passed in fragments, voices, pain, flashes of light. And then finally a cry. A small, fragile sound that broke me open completely. When I woke up again, the room was quiet. My body felt heavy, but the pain was gone. Ash was there, sitting beside my bed, still in the same clothes, eyes red from exhaustion. When he saw me open my eyes, he stood up quickly. Hey, he said softly. You made it. My voice was a whisper. The baby. He's fine. He smiled, a small, broken smile. He's strong. Just like his mother. Something warm filled my chest. Can I see him? He nodded and gently handed me a small bundle wrapped in white. I looked down, and everything else disappeared. Tiny fingers. Soft breath. A miracle I didn't think I'd survive long enough to hold. He's beautiful, I whispered. Ash nodded. He is. I looked up at him, tears spilling silently. Thank you. He shook his head. Don't thank me. But I did anyway. For everything. For saving me. For staying. He exhaled slowly. You don't understand, Eli. I didn't stay because I had to. I stayed because I couldn't walk away. I blinked, heart twisting. Ash! He moved closer, his hand brushing mine, careful, trembling. I don't care whose blood runs in him. I don't care what came before. All I know is, I want to be here. For both of you. Tears slid down my cheeks. You don't have to. I know, he said softly. But I want to. For a moment, the room felt too small for everything inside me. The relief, the fear, the love I didn't mean to grow. I looked at him through the blur of tears. He's not your baby, Ash. He smiled, faint, almost sad. He is now. I stared at him, words catching in my throat. You're my baby daddy, he said quietly. Whether you like it or not. A laugh broke through my tears, soft, disbelieving, aching. You're crazy. Probably, he said. But I'll take care of you. Both of you. Even if it kills me. The monitor beside me beeped steadily. The baby stirred in my arms, tiny fingers curling around mine. For the first time in months, I didn't feel afraid. Just tired. And safe. And full of something I didn't know how to name. Ash sat beside me, his hand resting lightly on the edge of the blanket. Rest now, he whispered. You're home. I closed my eyes, letting the warmth wash over me. But in the corner of my mind, I still heard Marcus's voice, faint, distant, promising that this wasn't the end. And maybe it wasn't. Maybe love this broken never really ends. But for now, in this small, fragile moment, I let myself believe that it could.